We're live, I think. I never know. I think there's a delay, but then sometimes there's not a delay. So, oh boy,
Who could say, man?
who can say? We're definitely live by now. I'm Joe Drilling. This is On Stick After Dark, and that is the voice of one Mike Ailes that you just heard.
Hello.
Mega
How do you
Man,
do?
mega fan. The
I
man
am
here for this.
I'm a Mega Man stan.
That's right. And then Kurt Adam is also here.
I am indeed.
All right.
Or I should have said I'm a Mega stan.
That's right. So this is the
Lost opportunity.
This is the Mega Man Wily Wars official Genesis release, and I think I'm big enough that I'm gonna look at some of the stuff that came with it before I start playing because I think it's neat. So this is the outer box. It's got the helmet and the Buster on the back, and then it's got a lenticular Mega Man on the front, and then when you open this, it's got the Genesis sprites of all the Robot Masters.
Ooh, robots.
Yeah. And then, but it's not just a lenticular Mega Man. You can actually, there's several lenticular cards that can be put in the front. So you've got Mega Man. You've got Bruce.
Bruce. Who's Bruce? I'm sorry.
You've got Proto Man is Bruce.
We're all Bruce here.
We're all Bruce here, yeah. Proto Man is Bruce because some website.
I am Bruce Yo.
When they revealed that they were adding Proto Man to Mega Man 9 as DLC, some website reported it as Bruce mode because
okay,
in
I get
Japanese,
it. No,
yeah, okay.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Cut Man,
Sure thing, boss.
right, and Elec Man. So I don't know how they settled on Mega Man, Proto Man, one Mega Man 2 boss, and two Mega Man, or one Mega.
I will
Man...
say Elec Man is one of the coolest
each,
designs.
No, sorry, one Mega Man 2 boss and two Mega Man 1 bosses.
Okay.
I feel like you would do one of each,
and then 2 is also.
Well, but you would you'd think you'd do, Metal Man, Cut Man, or Elec Man, and then like one of the bosses from Mega Man 3.
I love Mega Man 3, but aside from Snake Man, those boss designs aren't great.
Well, then do Snake Man. Man.
No argument over here.
So that's the outer case. Actually, that's not even the out. So it actually came in a plastic slipcover, which has like little Mega Man schematics, and then shows everything inside.
So you can build your own?
Yes, so I can build my own Mega Man. And then
awesome.
had a neat Mega Man sticker that sealed it.
Now, how much would you pay?
Which I had to cut through. And then inside that is your standard Genesis case, which this is actually not era appropriate. This is the grid style, but actually the red, like the red stripe down the side would be the correct era for when this game was released. But it is reversible, but the reverse side also does the grid, but it has some pretty neat cover art of all the Robot Masters. In Wily's castle. So that's neat. And then let's see.
I couldn't figure out
the
why
cartridge
you didn't
is
see what you were doing, and you didn't appear to be showing anything, and I realized that YouTube started up some archived thing instead. So now
I'm seeing you live.
Now I see stuff.
And then we have the instruction manual, which I mean, I don't know. I miss instruction manuals. I feel like I've said this before, but this is in both English and Japanese, interestingly. But you can read about all the Robot Masters in there, and it's a very glossy manual.
See, I don't really miss instruction manuals because I no longer have to ride home from the mall after buying a video game.
You get their hopes and dreams. You get their blood types.
That's true.
Turn-ons, turn-offs.
Let's see. This comes with a certificate. Oh, I didn't even look at this. This is a certificate of authenticity. I got copy 3,351 out of 20,000. And then a sticker book. I love stickers, but with stuff like this, I feel like I'm never going to put these stickers on anything. Like, I should.
Yeah. You don't have a tracker paper.
No, but I have a computer. My computer has a shitload of stickers on it. So, like, kind of feels like I should just put the stickers on. Or one or two of them on my computer.
Why wouldn't you put the sticker on then?
Because then I've sullied the package,
So one thing, sorry, I'm a little behind on one thing here. Is this a Genesis reproduction cartridge, or is this for like a different?
No, this is a Genesis. It's in my Genesis right now. I took my EverDrive out and put the sparkly blue. That's why I didn't show you the cartridge. It's already in my Genesis, but it's a sparkly translucent blue cartridge. It's in my Genesis. And
So it's like made of toothpaste.
yes, it's made of Crest
Got
sparkle toothpaste.
Redson.
Yep. And then the last
That'd be
thing,
very good if you ever have to fight Black Man.
that's right. The last thing it comes with is little cards, and I believe we got Mega Man, Proto Man, Metal Man, Elect Man, Cut Man, Snake Man, Guts Man, Shadow Man, Air Man, and I think they show their weaknesses. Yes, their weaknesses and all of there's some stats like those Marvel trading cards from the early 90s, which I loved and had a gazillion of. You can see all the power levels, and then you can see it tells the weakness.
Is Airman's weakness you shoot him?
Airman's weakness. Well, no, it's See, you're a start with Airman guy, which I still don't really fully understand.
Called Item 2, Joe. Look it up.
Yeah, it's called the Metal Blade, Mike. Look it up.
Don't need the Metal Blade on Airman stage, so you get the Item 2, and then you're good to go to Metal Man stage.
So this game has three saves. So this is now optimized properly for NTSC. A lot of people played a PAL ROM, which because of the timing difference between NTSC, like you can force a PAL ROM to play an NTSC, but then you can't shoot right because of the difference in timing. I guess is something like you only have 2 lemons on screen at any given time instead of 3, which really messes with your flow when you're used to playing.
Yeah, no, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's
so this
not
is
acceptable
optimized for NTSC and in English, and it saves correctly. Early versions that were on the internet like didn't save properly because it didn't use a battery save. This was one of the first games, I think, to use some primitive form of like sort of flash. It probably wasn't actually flash memory, but something like that, like a non-volatile memory, was used in the actual European and Japanese carts. So like some emulators and definitely like repro carts and stuff, a lot of times the saving didn't work right. You had to use a hacked version that fixed that. But basically you have all three. The plot line here is that Dr. Wily has built a time machine so that he gets a do-over. So this is not actually a remake, strictly speaking. This is a sequel to Mega Man's 1 through 3, wherein Dr. Wily has built a time machine and is forcing Mega Man to go destroy the original, what would that be, 22 Robot Masters all over again. And once you beat them, you unlock a special mode called Wily Tower, which has 3 brand new bosses in it. And you can pick any weapon loadout from all 3 of the first games to take on those 3 bosses, which is kind of fun. I'm going to play Mega Man 2 because Mega Man 2 is the best one. But you see with game select. And I don't know, I think we've talked about this game a bit before. I've done videos that have included 2 of the games from this cartridge.
I feel like Eric spent spent like 30 or 40 minutes just playing this one time.
Yeah, Eric did a Genesis or Genesis when that was the thing we still did. I think it's fine. I think what Capcom would have liked it to be is sort of the Mega Man equivalent to Mario All-Stars. It is not that. I would say pretty much all of these games are worse than the NES versions. But I still think it's fine. Like, there are people who talk about this like it's on a level with Mega Man Soccer, which I think is really not accurate or fair. I think.
I guess I just don't see why you'd want to play a less good version of a Mega Man game.
Some of the music is good. I mean, usually I wouldn't. Like, this is part of this for me was like, they announced this thing, it's officially licensed by Capcom, it's finally getting a physical copy. And a lot of it for me was just like, you know what, man? I remember reading about this in magazines. Like, I remember that GamePro cover with Sonic shaking hands with Mega Man. And I remember, like, wanting to get the Sega channel just so I could play it as a kid. And, like, basically, like, now, even though I know that these are not as good as the NES versions, like, I've I've realized the dream. I have a copy of Mega Man: The Wily Wars that is officially licensed, if not by Capcom, at least by Sega, or if not by Sega, at least by Capcom. And you know,
I get the curio aspect. I mean, for sure,
that's basically what it is for me. Like, am I going to bust this? Like, when I feel like playing Mega Man 2 in general, am I going to pull this out? Or am I more likely to either A, load it up on my flash cart, or B, play it on my Switch via the Legacy Collection? Like, I think we know the answer to that, right? But, yeah, it's mostly a curio. It's a Mega Man thing that I have been, in some way, sort of, like, lusting after since I was, you know, whatever, 11 years old. And now it exists, and now I can have it, so I have it. So, that's basically it. You know, and I don't indulge in a lot of these like sort of silly collector's editions. Like I buy limited run games and stuff, but I usually buy like the standard version unless it's a series I'm a big fan of. Like I bought one of the specialer Castlevania collections. Not the like super deluxe like $100 and whatever version, but the one that comes in like a Genesis style case.
Is this the first time you bought like one of these new pressings of a retro system cartridge?
Yes. I think, let me think about that. I can't think of another one off the top of my head, so I'm gonna say yes. Yeah, I think even like stuff with like Micro Mages, I didn't pay for the actual card, I just got the ROM. And put it on my flash cart when I got Micro Mages, which is a super fun game, by the way. It's on Steam, and when you buy it on Steam, the ROM file is in the Steam files, and you can just, if you have a flash cart, or you would rather play it in an NES emulator rather than it through Steam, you can do that. But yeah, that one I just got I just paid for the ROM. Boy, I'm trying to think. I think so. I sprung for the Gyarados reissue. Which
because it came with that T-shirt.
Because it came with the T-shirt was a big. I've wanted one of those T-shirts for a long time. It's so silly. I have a copy of Gyarados, and I was admittedly tempted by the Toaplan shooter set that came out last year. That was like Fire Shark. What was it? Fire Shark. I am gonna die because I'm trying to talk to you and not pay super close attention. There we go. Fire Shark. All Your Base belong to us.
Zero Wing.
Yeah, Zero Wing. Truxton.
Gotta be honest.
And I can't remember what the other one was, but
Gotta be honest. Fire Shark doesn't seem too effective.
Fire Shark rules actually.
Yeah, but sharks are ocean-dwelling creatures, and
Yeah.
Look, man.
Unless it's like in the future and the oceans are polluted to the point that.
But what if it's a verb? Fire shark. Fire shark out of what? I don't know, but I don't want to be on the other end when that happens.
Out of Torpedo Bay 1.
That's right. But I almost went for that. I ultimately did not because I just sort of felt like that was, for me, that was kind of an all or nothing thing. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you could just buy Zero Wing, but I'm like, why would I just, like, there's the box set, it was 4 games, came in a nice, like, slip cover and all that shit, and I was just kind of like, that's a little too rich for my blood. So I just skipped the whole thing. But for this one, it was a little more in line with, like, what a new retail game costs. I think it was $50 or $60, and, you know, I like Mega Man a lot, so I went for
So
it.
that's not too bad. Like, one thing that turned me off a lot of those like modern cartridgery issues was that they cost like more than it would cost to buy the real game. Like, like they did Mega Man 2 and Street Fighter 2, and like they were like $100 or something like that. And I'm like, I can go on eBay right now and get authentic cartridges of those games for a quarter that price.
Well, and also like with, was it? I think it was Street Fighter. Maybe it was both of them, or Mega Man X and Street Fighter 2. There was like a warning that like, be careful, this game might like light a blaze in your console. Like it's not.
I think
meant
that was just
for
their way
playing,
of saying
it's
we're not
for-
responsible for your 30-year-old Super Nintendo.
I guess, but you know, it just.
'Cause I don't see what a bunch of ROM chips are going to do to light themselves on
Well,
fire
I think
like
it
that.
was supposedly the plastic they used for the cartridges. Like.
Oh, they didn't have access to the good plastic
good
from
plastic,
the 90s.
Yeah, I guess not. So
We
I
used
don't
up
know.
all the good dinosaurs, and
Yeah.
only the crappy ones are left.
There was more low background radiation plastic available for that. I don't know. But
Right, you have to go to the bottom of the ocean to
That's
get the
right.
good low radiation
good
plastic.
low background radiation plastic. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't. Those
Dolls
were.
Tank
I don't.
From
Also,
Bikini Atoll.
yeah, and I also don't think that those had like. I feel like maybe it was the Street Fighter one, but it was basically just like the cartridge in a box, and it wasn't like. I mean, again, like a lot of this stuff is. I'm not gonna like. What am I gonna do with these? Am I gonna display the lenticular cards of Cutman and stuff? Probably not. But you know, it's like. I mean, there's stuff in there at least. I can justify the expense, and
But in the case of this particular game, it's not like you could get a cartridge of this,
well, right,
and
there's
even
also
the
that.
European and Japanese ones are pretty expensive, aren't they,
They're
for this game?
Super. The European one is ridiculous. The Japanese
Right.
one is a little less ridiculous, but still pretty expensive.
Whereas Street Fighter 2, how much is it going to cost you to get a loose copy of Street Fighter 2 for Super
I'd
Nintendo?
be insulted to be asked
Order.
to pay more than like $8 for a copy of original, like vanilla Street Fighter 2 on the Super NES.
And I think that's the one they reissued, isn't it?
I'm almost positive it is. Those were through IM 8-bit, not through Retrobit. So, but yeah, but I did spring for the Gaiaris one because it comes with a bunch of shit. It comes with an interview with the guy in those ads and a T-shirt and that stuff, and so. Also, I think I'm going to be talking about Gaiaris on Friday a little bit because it's similar to one of the games that I actually just captured footage for you, for Eric, right before I started doing this. But yeah, I'm gonna have to burn an E-tank, aren't I?
Slow down.
Definitely gonna
Man, if we're going to get an interview with anyone from one of those things, can we get the banjo player from Phalanx?
I would love that. What was the? Oh yeah, I imported one of the Toe Plan collections. The next one is also Fire Shark. Speaking of which I'll also spring for. But I got the Kyoku Tiger one, and it came with a book that has interviews in it. But they're all in Japanese. But it's a neat little book that came with Kyoku Tiger. On this came with the Switch version, and that was neat. This was like straight up free though. This was just like buy the game on Amazon Japan and you get the free book, so that was neat. But yeah, I mean, the banjo player from the Phalanx art would be. I feel like I saw something recently about someone made, or maybe they're doing a reissue of that, and it has updated cover art, and I'm like, why would you update the cover art? Like, that's the thing that everybody.
It's the one
remembers
notable
about that
thing
game.
about that game.
Like, it's a thoroughly like adequate shooter for the Super NES, which honestly doesn't have that many really good shoot 'em ups. Like what everybody remembers is the banjo player. Also, I learned recently, I don't know if I've shared this with you guys or not already, but okay, you remember Back to the Future when Marty first goes back in time and he crashes into the barn and he runs over the pine tree and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. The you killed my pine tree, that guy is the
Yeah.
fucking chess master. Like the old guy on the cover of all those chess master games, that's the same dude. And I'm like,
I don't really know what to do with that information,
yeah,
but okay.
I didn't really either. I was just like, wait, what? I was just sort of shocked that I never noticed. Not that I was like a huge chess master fan or anything, but I was certainly like every version of it. They put the same old dude on the cover. Like they use the same photograph. It seems like for every subsequent version of Chess Master, at least for a long time they did. And like I was a big Back to the Future fan, so I felt like I should have noticed. And then as soon as it was pointed out to me and I looked at them side by side, I was like, oh yeah, that definitely is the same dude. Let's see if we can farm some one-ups from some baby birds.
Well, he's not a pine master anymore, so maybe he had
That's
to
right.
find a new career.
That's right. Does it count as a genuine 1 credit clear if I farm 1-ups from baby birds?
According to the rules.
It's true. I didn't use another credit, so.
I mean, you didn't use any credits really, so.
Well, yeah, right. I don't think I'm actually. I mean, this game doesn't take that long to finish, even for me. But I actually just did. I did a 1 credit clear of this on an airplane earlier this year.
Oh, you
Not
rode an
this
airplane
version.
this year?
I was on an airplane this year. Weren't you on an airplane this year?
Not this year.
Oh, I guess it was late last year for both of us. Didn't you go to Vancouver or some fucking place, Mike?
Yeah, last year.
Last year, right? Okay.
It's been almost 6 months at this point.
Was it that long ago? Oh,
It
jeez.
was like September. No, I guess it's been 4.5 months. Anyway, not
Insane.
germane. I mean, I guess it's Airman stage, so we can talk about planes for a while. That's fine.
right. But I don't know.
I,
If I'm gonna actually take the time to finish this game tonight, but maybe I will. I don't know. It depends.
I don't know if you were paying attention to GDQ this year, but is this game a better or worse version of Mega Man 2 than Mega Mem 2?
That joke worked for me for about 5 minutes, and then I was like, okay, I get it.
I feel like you're being generous. That joke worked for me for about 30 seconds, then I was like, all right, maybe I don't need to watch the rest of this.
I like looked it up on Steam because like in the first minute I was like, oh, that's like kind of funny and sort of charming, I guess. So I like looked it up on Steam, and then yeah, by about the 5-minute mark, I was like, okay, I get it. Like this is the whole joke apparently. This is a better. I mean, I haven't actually played Mega Mem 2, so I guess I like can't say for certain. But
It didn't look very good. It didn't look like it was a blast to play. Certainly was not a blast to listen to.
no, good lord, it was certainly not a blast to listen to.
Even the worst Genesis sound chip atrocity is better than that.
Yeah.
Endless kazoo playing.
Mark Van Borstel says, nice, I just got my limited run copy of Wily Wars today.
Yeah, I ordered from Castlemania.
Let's see what they did there.
Yeah, and I got mine last week. So apparently the limited run ones were a little behind, but there was like a shipping. Like these were supposed to be out a long time ago, and you know, supply chain, etc., etc. So
I can't quite read Dr. Light's expression there, but I'm not sure that I like it. And then Mega Man looks like he's about to draw.
He does.
Pistols at dawn.
He's mega pissed off.
that's right.
Get equipped with rascally varmint.
Get equipped with succotash and suffer.
Crash Man, not Clash Man. Crash Man, and I will brook no argument to the contrary.
I don't. It's not even written Clash Man in NES, is it?
I
Is this in the
think
manual, right?
Manual, yeah, it's Clash Man. But I've definitely seen some people like retroactively try to be like, no, it's Clash Man, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's Crash Man.
He doesn't even have a Casbah. He can't rock any Casbah.
That's right. He cannot call London nor have London call him. He's-
Not unless he beats Phone Man or something.
That's right. He can't.
Rudy can fail.
He can fail. He can't give him enough rope. It's just, you know.
Yeah.
He does have bombs. Are they? Do you think maybe they were made in
It's
Spain?
true. They could be. That could be
Yeah.
a thing in a part in his defense. And since he's a
We may-
robot, it's very possible he could get lost in the supermarket. So maybe there's more to Clash Man than the.
I wonder how his pathing is. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mhm.
All right, maybe we're not going to crack this case wide open tonight.
So what are you fellas playing? I'm playing this, and actually, I've been playing a lot of Risk of Rain 2 lately because
Hey.
I'm on the hype train for March 1st when we get a bunch of new Risk of Rain 2 stuff.
So they haven't added it yet. It's coming soon
Yeah.
Coming March
March
1st.
to a rain near you.
That's right.
For $10.
10, yeah. Which was
you
the,
gotta pay
okay?
for
So
it?
the Bandit update was free, right? The last
Mhm.
update was free. Yeah, the other night Eric and I put the power supply in the plant robot, and then we obliterated at the obelisk, and so I unlocked the last 2 characters I had to unlock. Mercenary seems neat, but very hard to play because you have to be close for everything, and the plant monster seems like I'm never ever going to use him ever anyways, but it's nice to not have a blank spot on my character select.
I still have them. Blank spots, that is. Someday.
Someday.
It's all fine.
Well, where were you?
Some way. I was doing stuff.
Well,
Stuff and things.
I wasn't saying anything about you people.
now
was
we're us people,
noting.
I see.
Yeah, you heard me. You people. I was just noting. It was more of a knock on me. I was not around to do the thing, so I didn't do the thing.
I mean, I would do the thing again at some point. But,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Was the thrust of the comment.
yes. But it seems like there's. Sorry, Eric. There's 3 new characters coming? In this
2 new
update?
characters
2
and
new
3 stages, I think.
And we only
New
know the
music.
identity of the railgunner. We don't know who the other new
Yeah.
character is.
I believe so.
Crashman felt easier than he does on NES there, which is weird because I feel like some of the bosses feel harder. Metal Man felt harder.
You know, if any, it might just be a hitbox thing, right? Because what's tough with Crashman is the air shooter is a little wonky, and you can't shoot it quickly on the NES. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also a bunch of new items and enemies and stuff like that. So
Yeah, new items are.
oh,
good.
that would be
Well,
kind of cool.
yeah,
I think one of the things that kept me from really getting into Risk of Rain 2 was that it was literally the first game in 3D. So like I just I felt like I'd been there and done that to a certain extent. So if they add like new enemies and items that do weird, wacky things, that could be fun. I was on a little kick trying to try out a few last-minute 2021 games to see if they would merit a spot on my stickies list. So I did a little tiny bit of Forgotten City, and then I fired up Death's Door. And of those 2, Death's Door is the one that I've been kind of sticking with a bit more, because that game is really cool.
So you
It's
are.
really
good.
cool.
So you're
That's
knocking
good.
on death's door, is what you're saying.
I guess I am.
I was trying to play that game while I was streaming and talking about The Crow,
Yes, that's right.
and
'Cause you
because
play
there
as
was
the
no
Crow.
map, I was hitting a really, really hard. Yeah, because I could only play about 45 minutes of the PlayStation 1 game, The Crow, because it's really.
Did you even play that much?
One of
that game?
I did. I mean, I gave it a legitimate shot, but it's one of the worst games I've ever played. It's not as bad as the Fifth Element PlayStation game, but
Low bar, my friend. Low bar.
it's very not good. But because there was no map and because my focus wasn't entirely on it, I was definitely having some problems figuring out where to go and ended up going around in circles quite a bit.
The map thing is not great, but if you're not also doing a podcast at the same time, it's not that hard to at least stay on like the critical path. The problem more becomes like later on if you want to find secrets and things, it's not the easiest.
Yeah.
But
Not
like
really,
I'm
I
not
just-
having much trouble just navigating the levels. It's more
Yeah.
searching for stuff.
I don't think that game really benefits from not having a map. You know what I mean?
Sure, I get it, but I mean it's not that
It's not
huge
a
of a
it is-
deal.
it's not a game breaker, but it's just why doesn't this have a map? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Couldn't
It's
tell
not
you,
like,
bud.
like in
It's
Dark
two
Souls or
dudes.
something, it's like there's a specific reason why those games don't have a map, and they don't really need one either because they aren't that complicated. But
I'm not
that
sure this game is
2D
that complicated, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I don't know. Each level is quite a bit more complicated than the Dark Souls area, but those are mostly pretty straightforward. So
I mean, I would like a map. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I think that game is really cool. I think it looks amazing.
really nice.
It does look amazing. Yeah.
Just the art style is so good and so clean. Like,
Yeah.
So are you sticking
Uh,
with it
I've
enough
lost.
that it's gonna unseat something else from your list? That's why
I don't
at this
honest-
point, I decided I'm not gonna play Mundon because I don't want it to bump something off my list, which maybe kind of sucks. But I don't want Eric to go through the work. I don't want to have to capture more footage. I don't like. I just
It's your list. You can do whatever you want with it.
That first boss is really something in Death's Door.
Yeah, to the castle.
Yeah.
Castle
Fight
robot.
So, okay, so Mike, you fought 2 like living buildings this year, presumably. Got that far in Final Fantasy VII.
Yes, that's true. I have fought the Hell House. It's true.
All right, which one? What do you think? You give an edge?
The House fight was way too long.
Okay.
Agreed.
It was cool. Like it was neat that they were doing like live commentary for the fight. Like that part was pretty awesome. But yeah, that fight was much longer than I really wanted it to be. The one in Crow Game is actually quite short. So wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know that it's gonna unseat it. I don't think I'm gonna move anything around on my list because I like it, but I don't feel that strongly about it. But I also don't feel that strongly about a lot of the stuff on my list.
some of the stuff towards the bottom. I was sort of shuffling because I was like, which of these did I actually like the most? And I think G Darius HD squeaked in at the very bottom because I was just like, this is a really, I don't even like to put remakes on these things, but like this is a really good remake of a game that should be better known, and they added some stuff that was not seen in any previous ports, which I think is neat. So
I think anything that's not in my top 4 or so is just like, yeah, that was a fun game.
my top 5 were things that I played a shitload of and really liked, and spent like hours and hours with. Wasn't the item I wanted to use, but that's fine, I guess. Whatever works, whatever gets you there.
Yeah, for me it was definitely like I had like a top. I felt like last year was kind of like it was lacking the very very tippy top kind of tier games. But there was a bunch of stuff that there was like a pretty easy like top 7 or so like games that I really liked, and then the next tier down there was a ton of stuff. There was a ton of like B pluses,
Yeah,
I can't remember.
but
I honestly am having trouble remembering what I did end up
Oh,
with
yeah.
in the bottom half of my list. So
That's right. My number 1 game from last year was Gaizo Hack from 2019. So, yes, maybe I agree with you that there
Come
wasn't
out
anything.
last year? Come on, Mike.
Nope.
That's some bullshit.
that's some bullshit.
And-
I think we told him that was some
Hey.
bullshit last year.
Actually, the
Well,
only
last year
reason
he
that
just
that one
put
game is officially on my
Gaizo-
list is because Joe refused to accept my original answer, which was just assorted stuff from the genre.
Oh,
No, that's
fuck.
that's fine.
So I picked the one that was my game of the year, and it was from 2019. We won't have
Oh.
that problem this year.
Well, your top game doesn't count, I guess. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. There was a bunch. Like I said, for me, it was definitely like a top. I had about I don't know, like 15 things that might have made my list, and then
Yeah, same.
like the top 8 spots were pretty much going to be like any one of 8 things could have been number 1, and then the last 2 spots was like I kind of just
They're
had
the
to-
next tier down.
yeah, kind of just had to pick 2 things that were in that grouping of like 10 or 15 things.
I had a thing that was like what the fuck? Okay, this is weird. Are you seeing this, Mike? Are you noticing this? Or are you playing Kaizo?
Hold on. No, well, I mean doing both, right? But I'm just trying to figure out because I'm on a lag here. So
Yeah.
okay, you didn't fall down. Is that the problem? Is that you didn't?
Yeah, I moved over and then tried to press against the wall so I'd be ready to move in the opposite direction as soon as the screen scrolled, and it popped me back up onto the platform.
I want to say that is not a Mega Man behavior.
That is not a NES Mega Man behavior for sure. If you drop,
I cannot think of any
What the
Mega Man
hell?
game where you can do that thing. What are you gonna call that? Like Coyote Time? Like
yeah, basically, right? I don't know if that's the official name for it, but it fucking should be.
that's what they call it in Celeste,
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
or like in Donkey Kong Country. You know,
to
like where
finish
you can
that.
jump after you go off the edge of a platform.
Right. I don't like Donkey Kong Country.
Either.
Yeah, I need to go back and finish Celeste. I started playing Celeste right when I was like trying to finish a bunch of stuff for the end of the year to have a good handle on my list, and then I stopped playing it. I need to go back to it.
I know I'm on my subculture bullshit, but we have come full circle. We now have a Kaizo hack by the maker of Celeste, starring Sonic, and we also have a Kaizo hack called Celeste.smc, which is what if all of the Celeste mechanics were in Mario World.
Great.
Not made by the creator of Celeste.
Okay, the way that Air Shooter works with the Sniper Joe turrets walkers is like kind of fucking whack compared to the way that it's actually supposed to work. But whatever.
Seems like it was taking you 3 full
Yeah,
shots.
3 full.
That's like one or two too many. I want to say if you hit all 3 tornadoes, I think 1 shot's usually enough to deal with those guys. But again, the tornadoes are wonky in the NES version because I think like they break the sprite limit or something.
That sounds right.
So you can't be guaranteed that they'll behave the way you want them to.
There's some way that you can lock Quickman to running and not never jumping. I never
Couldn't tell you.
remember how to do it, and I don't know if it might not work in this version anyway. So
Is it like if you never shoot, he'll never jump or something like that?
something like that. He's such a pain in the ass. I'm just gonna use an energy tank. Also, this game limits you to 4 energy tanks, which is
That's Mega Man 2.
that's Mega Man 2. But
What do you want, man?
I
9
want-
energy
I want
tanks?
to carry as many fucking energy tanks as I want to, just like in Mega Man 3. That's what I want. That's the only place where I'll admit Mega Man 3 is better. It lets you carry more than 4 energy tanks.
There's a couple arguments for why Mega Man 3 could be the better game. I still tend to lean
Slide?
2, but What?
You can slide.
You can slide. The slide is good. The
slide?
sliding is good actually. I don't think anyone really hates the slide, but
I feel like those two games just complement each other very well. Like if
Yeah,
Mega Man 3 was just another Mega Man game without the slide, then it, wouldn't be as much fun. But like it is Mega Man 2 is like the ideal.
yeah, it's definitely the platonic Mega Man game.
Ideal of a Mega
Yeah.
Man.
It's the purest Mega Man game.
But it's
quite a bit
also
better
filled with
than
some
the
real bullshit.
original. Yeah.
That
I've
we all
played it
learned how to
so
deal
many
with 30
times.
years ago.
I
Yes,
say I've played it so many times
two
now
definitely
that I
does
don't
not have
feel
the
like
kind of
it's-
bullshit that one has in it, though.
One is made of bullshit.
Yeah.
Mega Man 1 is constructed out of bullshit. It's a
Like there's a
bullshit
boss in
go-
Mega
Well-
Man 1 that's like barely beatable unless you do like a pause spam.
I've done it
trick, right?
one time without using the
Right.
trick, just to say I did it, and I
Me-
will
yeah,
probably
me
never
too,
bother
never
doing
ag-
it again. Because
Never again. No, but Mega Man 2 has still got like 4 or 5 bits that are just like fuck. Like if you don't know what to do going in, you're gonna have a rough time.
So I was thinking about this earlier tonight because I was capturing footage from
You're
Ghosts
about,
and
like, the
Goblins Resurrection.
Quick Man lasers.
But
Quick
you can
man
cheese the
lasers,
Quick Man lasers.
eat man. You
Falling
can
blocks.
cheese them all if you know what you're doing. But like, if you show up in a level and you don't know what the secret is, then it's just like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Sure.
Okay, I have to stop playing Resident Evil 8 now. I'm just playing
But,
Resident Evil 8.
Um,
Captured like 35 minutes of footage for Resident Evil 8.
I definitely
Or
could have
7.
captured a whole bunch of footage of that for you. You obviously didn't need it, but
Man, that game is really.
if you
fucking
want if you want footage of Ethan swinging a fucking lightsaber around, I can get you some of that.
good. That's okay. I got the good shit,
Spent a lot of fucking time getting that goddamn lightsaber. So,
man.
and then by the end of it, I actually I didn't like the mercenaries mode at first, and by the time I unlocked the lightsaber, I was like, this mercenaries mode is actually pretty good.
I never really messed with it. Yeah. The only thing about that game is I replayed a little bit of it and then was capturing footage, obviously, but I think the reason I might not replay that game to completion is because the main hub area is like it was fine the first time through, but I don't know that I necessarily want to.
You don't spend very much time there subsequently, though.
I don't know. You
like,
go
you-
back and
you-
if you want to get all the stuff, you spend quite a bit of time
That's-
going back and forth through that village.
That's true, but unless you're doing a
It's
completionist...
called Resident Evil Village, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yes,
Right
it
there,
literally
honey.
is. It's literally the hub
That's
for the
what
game.
it says on the tin. But unless
Um,
you're doing a completionist playthrough where you want to have unlock all the shit, you really don't need to fuck around in the village that much. Like you can just go back long enough to like upgrade your guns and then.
Oh
just go
come
to
on,
the
man!
next-
You're never gonna play that
next thing.
game and not try and get all the little secret doohickeys. And I mean, it's a Resident Evil game. You gotta hoard as much equipment as you can.
Oh, I'm talking about like all the unlocks that like okay, there's an achievement in that game for that you get points to spend in like the post game shop where you get the unlimited ammo and shit. For opening and leaving open every outhouse door. And like
yeah, I'm
you
not.
don't need
I'm
to
not even.
fuck
I'm
around
not
with
talking
that.
about. I'm not talking about doing. I'm just saying. By the time I was done with that game, I really want. I was like, I would like to play through the castle and the swamp and the dollhouse. You know, like I would like to play through those 4 main areas again, but I don't want to go back to the village.
Yeah, I mean, I don't once you're in a place where you have like I have access to every weapon and infinite ammo for you know, so like if I don't want to spend time.
Yeah, if you just
doing
all you
it,
have
I
to do
can
is
just
play it
blaze
for
through
80
it.
hours.
Yeah,
then you can
that's
just
right. All you
blaze
have
through
to
it.
do
It's
is.
easy.
play
I mean, on a second
Like
playthrough,
Mega Man 2.
it was
It's just
pretty
like
bad.
it's right. It's just like Mega Man 2 or Contra. Or,
By the time you're on your dozenth playthrough, all the kinks are ironed out.
that's right. Well, getting back to what I was saying a little bit before Eric decided he was going to stop playing Resident Evil 8. I was thinking about this earlier tonight because I was capturing footage for Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which is an interesting specimen to me, and I don't want to like shoot my load now because I'm going to talk a lot about it on Friday, but it's a hard game that is hard in a different way than a lot of what the modern hard games are. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people who are into stuff like Super Meat Boy or VVVVV or Celeste or whatever, like, still didn't like click with Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection because it's like the same kind of hard that the old Ghosts and Goblins games are, which is like a different type of hard game, you know? And I feel like, you know, this game and Contra and the original Ghosts and Goblins games and all, you know, all that stuff are kind of in that same way, and I haven't thought enough about it to really be able to delineate what exactly that means. But definitely part of it involves like there being some, like the game would be a half hour long if you knew all the bullshit, but you don't know all the bullshit on the first go through, right? Like,
So it sounds like this game is what you keep accusing me of Kaizo games being like.
I mean, do you think Mega Man 2 and Kaizo are the same thing?
No, I'm talking the Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection thing where there's just a bunch of bullshit and you got to figure it out.
Well, I'm comparing it to Mega
Ghosts
Man
and
2,
Goblins is just
not
like
to-
throws a million things at you constantly.
right, and until you remember exactly where all of those things pop out of, you know.
Except you can't, right? You kind of can't.
Well,
memorize.
but you can know where the red armor is going to be and like what will wake him up.
Yeah.
And like aggro him.
I don't know.
And that stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, yes, like a million zombies or Grim Reapers or whatever will just keep running at you until you get the hell out of there. But a lot of the big hazards, you know, where to jump, where not to jump, shit like that, like
When the ground's gonna
when
change
the
or something
ground's
like
gonna
that.
drop out from under you, like that's shit you can remember, you can learn and remember where it happens. The boss patterns, the bosses are actually like kind of the easiest part of a lot of almost every game in that series. The bosses are usually easier than the stages.
Because they just sit in one place and only attack you from one side.
Yeah, usually. And even the ones that move around, like the Cerberus in Ghouls and Ghosts, like it moves in a very predictable pattern and it jumps over you. It never really like actually comes at you.
Bro.
So, yeah. So no, I don't think that Ghosts and Goblins is hard. Well, I guess I haven't played a Kaizo game, so I guess I can't opine. But I think the Kaizo games that I've seen you and other people play, it seems like there is like a way to get through every stage, and you have to execute it exactly perfectly every time, and that's all.
Yeah, it's not. That's usually the truth.
Which, like, ghouls and ghosts and goblins have some shit, but like Eric said, part of it is like the enemies will just keep coming at you, so there's some things you can't memorize and some things you can't get by. But you have to learn the game's bullshit conventions, I guess, and like which weapons are the best and which weapons are the best for which stages.
It's a bit like Contra in that way, right?
Yes.
Just constant enemy spam going around everywhere.
Yes.
In addition to environmental hazards and pits and explosions and things breaking and...
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, the only thing I really want to say is that your references for modern hard games are all like 12 years old.
Well, Celeste is 12 years old.
No, but VVV and Super Meat Boy are...
Yes, they're both
Pretty old, yeah.
pretty old, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, I didn't want to just like evoke Dark Souls because I also think Dark Souls is hard in a different way than any 2D game. I mean, you know, really, all the Souls-likes are, and some of the Souls-likes are hard in different ways from each other. Which I still don't really get why people say that Sekiro is a Souls-like, except that it was made by FromSoft. Like, I guess that just like I guess they're all Souls-likes now. Armored Core is a Souls-like because it was made by FromSoft.
I mean, the way that the map is structured and stuff like that, there's a lot of similarities to Dark Souls.
Yeah, I guess, and if you rest at the bonfire,
and also like
then,
just
like,
the way it
enemies
looks, like the way the
revive.
camera placement is behind the character and all that stuff is very similar to Dark Souls. But
Yeah, I mean, but every third-person action game is like that.
no, they really, it's definitely different than like a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta or something. This is the way that all that stuff feels a lot like Dark Souls.
I mean, it
But the
felt pretty
combat is
similar
very
to,
different.
like,
I mean, the biggest difference is that you could construct a character outside of the fact that in Sekiro you have a grappling hook. You could construct a character in Dark Souls that plays outside of the grappling hook and the like
Stealth
guard,
kills or...
well, the guard break system
right,
in
that's the
Sekiro.
whole-
But
yeah,
but
that's
you
like
can
the whole gimmick,
you can
right?
play
That's-
Dark Souls similar to the way that you play, like in terms of the way it feels. Like if you build your character that way, you could make a character that feels kind of like playing Sekiro. Whereas
Isn't the Sekiro guy just the dex build?
kind of, yeah. But I mean, again, there's like those additional mechanics that change things up quite a bit. But
Where'd you come down on Sekiro anyway? Is that one that
I
you like?
got my money back for it. I didn't like it at all.
Ah, right.
I was
Because
gonna
I don't,
say,
I
thought
I
that's
don't
fair.
like having to. Because the only way to play that game is to like counter
To
and
parry.
Master of the,
And
block and
I'm not good at it, and I don't really like it that much. So
I that was probably the
I
Souls like
refunded
that I enjoyed the most. I still didn't make it super far, but I made it way further
But-
into that than I did in any of
right.
the other ones that I played.
that's the cool thing about Dark Souls is that you can choose how you build your character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can build a dex character or you can build a good character.
Is
Well,
that-
you
that
can.
the way it
You,
is? Huh?
I mean, it's not just dex or strength, right? But it's like you can play like a strength build that it aggressively attacks or uses like high what's that
Yeah,
called? Guard break,
poise.
It's called poise break type weapons, or you can play one that's super tanky and defensive, and you like holds your shield up until the enemy exhausts itself, and then you attack. And you know what I mean? Or you can play magic builds of various sorts, also, especially once you get into Dark Souls 2 and 3, which have a bunch of different viable magic types. But once you get into Bloodborne and Sekiro, you kind of only one real way to play it. There's like
Bloodborne had.
variations, but
I was gonna say Bloodborne
not
had
anything
a
like
couple,
Dark Souls.
didn't it? If I remember.
Well, Dark
It has different
Bloodborne
weapons.
has different weapons. Like there's heavier and lighter weapons
Right.
that change the animations, but you
Giant
you
straight
still-
razor. I used the
you
giant
still
straight
have to
razor.
play aggressively in a way that you don't in Dark Souls. Dark Souls is an RPG, and Bloodborne and
Sekiro,
and
more
Sekiro
action
are-
games.
yeah, they're more like action games
Oh,
with a skill
bullshit.
tree, which semantics, but definitely different flavor.
Mark von Borstel says, "Are you interested in Wonderlands at all?" I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that
What is that?
either. I tell you what, I'm not interested in farming a bunch of fucking weapon energy so I can do this again.
You don't need weapon energy to beat the dragon.
I might need weapon energy to have enough item 1 to get up to the dragon, though.
Ah,
And that sounds like if I don't, I might just quit. I might end it here because I super duper don't feel like farming fucking weapon 1 or item 1 weapon energy so I can do this shit again. Especially since this feels like it crunches you way closer to the ceiling, way faster, which I don't remember from the last time I played through this, but that was a couple of years ago. It's great. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it. I don't know if I can. Well, we have
It's
Mutant
Wonderland.
Garden
Somebody look
Flower.
that up. I want to know what that
Yeah,
is.
I'm curious about what that is now. How is there a way? Do I have to just stand up and reset the system? I probably do.
Borderlands spin-off set in a Dungeons and Dragons type setting. Okay.
Okay. Tiny
Personally, I don't
Tina's-
like Borderlands at all. I know some of you guys do, but
I don't like Tiny Tina at all. So, but that like is in terms of the way that plays, it looks like fun. But I don't know that I can stand to spend that much time with Tiny Tina.
I think I've given up on color-coded loot, like procedurally generated loot. I think
Yeah.
I'm much more into a game where you get the one thing and it just has its properties, like the Dark Souls Zweihander. I don't want to get like 1,000 two-handed swords with different like buffs on them. I want there to be one in the game, and you get it, and now you have that one
Well,
weapon.
there's some different ones. There's Zweihander and the Great
Yeah, but they're not just
Sword
different
and-
because they have like a
Driver.
plus 15
Yeah,
against
no, I know. What
you
mean.
know, zombies or whatever. Like they're different because they have different animations. They're fundamentally different weapons, even if they are kind of similar.
Right.
Like I want to get a Black Knight Greatsword sometime because I didn't get to use one before, and it's not the same thing as this Zweihander.
Right. And there's only like one Zweihander in the whole game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of weapons that you find multiple times in that game, are there? I guess some of the common enemies will drop like a
Yeah,
like
I mean, there's
rapier or
like a
something, or-
short sword or whatever that will show up quite a bit, but
right.
that doesn't happen that often for sure.
Also, weirdly, I just don't really want to play Dark Souls anymore, even though it was like a super important game for me when I did play it.
Yeah. I know. I'm ready for Elden Ring. I'm very, very much so looking forward to that.
Double jumping horse.
Yeah, the weird pot guy.
Weird pot guys. You should play some more Death's Door.
Yeah. I will say, like, Alex and I played like 20 or so hours of Borderlands 3, and I had a good time with that. So I don't know.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying
I can still play some pinata monsters with some colored loot from time to time.
Yeah, someone I work with
Um,
is just telling me that it's called Lost Ark, I think, which is like a new pinata monster.
It's coming out.
thing.
I think it came out in Korea a couple of years ago, but it's new here. And yeah, I have that. I downloaded it. I'm gonna give it a shot. I think you could pre-order like a bunch of the in-game currency and start playing it
Ooh,
today.
you can pre-order
And then I think
in-game
it's
currency. Fuck.
well, it's like you can buy like $30. Plus, there's like character skins and items and stuff like
Well,
that.
so is it
But
a free to
otherwise,
play? Is it a free
It's
to play
free.
thing?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
free
fuck
otherwise.
that.
So
That's
I don't know. It's fine.
there was a thing.
It depends on how it's. You can't say fuck that until you've played it and see how it's balanced, right? Like you could play and have a good time with Genshin Impact and pay literally $0 for a game that is really fucking good. So, or if you want to invest $50 in it because you think it's fun, then you can do that and get a bunch of cool characters, and that's also fine.
Sure. Well, you could.
I'm not
but-
opposed to people paying money for free to play games.
Right, but I'm
I think
not
that
gonna do
can
it.
be fine, but yeah, like I never want to do it because I don't trust them to have made a game that is fun to play without spending money on.
I don't know.
And when you do spend the money, it's never enough, you know? Like
Like-
it's not like you pay one $30 or $50 fee and you got the game. It's no, you're getting energy or crystals or
That's-
what have you.
Yeah, I don't know. I spent like $60 on character roles for Genshin Impact, and I played like 60 hours of it, and I feel pretty good about that. So
No, that's why I'm not against
I
it
got
as
to
a
I got to choose how much money I paid for Genshin Impact. Was how I looked at it. Like I said, it's completely dependent on how the game is balanced, right? Like it's entirely possible that if that game was tweaked one way or the other a little bit too much, then it would be completely untenable as a free-to-play game, and then that wouldn't be all right.
I feel like
But
Pinata
Right.
Monster sort of lends itself to like not having a great balance.
I don't know. Well, I mean, like I said, some games are and some aren't.
Well, my thing is I just don't trust them. So,
I play a lot.
some of them are good, and I never trust them to be, so I don't want to spend that money.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to spend the money until you've played the game, right? So, like, I didn't spend any money on Genshin Impact until I'd played like 20 hours of it and decided that I was going to finish that first storyline. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll pay the money for this because it's good and I like it. And then I got some cool stuff and had a good time and spent a fair
this is just a
price for a
personal
good game.
And then tapped out.
Right.
This is a personal foible that I'm telling you about here. Like, I ain't mad, bro.
Aren't you, Mike? Aren't you?
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with this game, is that I'll try it out, and if I like it, maybe I'll buy some stuff, and maybe I won't. Who knows? Who's to
Shadow.
say?
Did anybody else watch the Nintendo Direct today?
I did, yeah. Well, I was capturing some footage.
Does stream
So-
disappear? Or was it just me?
Oh,
It's black for
that's
me.
Yeah, it's
weird.
black.
That's bizarre. Can you, if you click over to unmute it, can you still hear us?
Or was it just me?
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
black.
I can still hear it, just can't
Yeah.
see anything.
that's weird. It's because I wonder if it's going to reset the game, but no part of the thing is showing. That doesn't make any sense.
Mark Van Borstel says, I'm surprised you can enjoy any of the Borderlands characters if you can't stand Tiny Tina. Most of the
I don't-
characters are pretty
Nah,
overly hyperactive.
Oh, man.
More than
Tiny
one
Tina
of the
is
best
far
users
and away
using
the
primary
worst.
URL. Is somebody else trying to stream?
I don't
As
think.
Using
far
the
and away the
primary
worst.
URL. Is somebody else trying to stream?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Send one stream to the primary ingestion URL and one stream.
Oh,
Yep,
I see you
There it
again.
is.
Back in, yeah. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Snake Man.
What the hell was I saying? Oh, yeah,
Nintendo Direct.
Nintendo Direct. I was most surprised, I think, to hear that Klonoa, I assume it's the Wii version of Klonoa, but also with Klonoa 2, which I guess must be the PlayStation version of, or PS2, right? Klonoa 2?
PS2, yeah.
You were more
cool.
surprised by Klonoa than Live Alive?
Yes.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's one that I played a fan translation of that on an emulator in like 2006, and it's definitely a weird thing. It would be like if the only one that would have surprised me more, I guess, would be if they put out like Bahamut Lagoon, but I guess it's on the table now, right?
Sounds like it.
any
Tales of
them are.
Fantasia, here we come.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Just
the reason
get all that stuff out there.
Klonoa surprised me more than Live Alive is because actually no, that's not true. Radical Dreamers is actually what surprised me.
There
the
you go.
most. But not really. Square has been putting out a whole bunch of, like, after Square did the fucking official translation of Seiken Densetsu 3, then now it's sort of like, yeah, they're just gonna do
All
whatever.
bets are off.
Whatever you thought they weren't gonna do, they're gonna do it now.
Put out the Quintet trilogy,
I don't
cowards.
know- Yeah, no shit. Well, they did the
Quintet
remake.
Quartet?
Of,
That?
they
I
did
actually
the,
don't know
the
if they
remake.
own
They
those.
remade ActRaiser last year, right? I don't think any of us
Yeah,
played
it's
it.
true.
But
Well, I played Real ActRaiser like 2 weeks before that game came out, so I was like, well, next time I want to play ActRaiser, maybe I'll try the remake. I also played Soul Seraph, which was also
which was the,
kind of
like
like,
ActRaiser ripoff, right?
yeah, which was honestly not very good.
Was
But
it better or worse than ActRaiser 2, Mike?
I haven't actually played ActRaiser 2 because everyone says it's bad. I don't want to sully my ActRaiser memories with a bad ActRaiser.
Imagine if ActRaiser was just all of the action stuff.
Yeah, that sounds
without
bad.
any, yeah, it's just then you just have a
So it's
mediocre
Rastin
melee
on Super
combat
Nintendo.
focused.
Fuck
Right.
that. Boo. Eat
Um,
shit, Snake Man.
Part of what's awesome about ActRaiser is that you get like these two things that synergize really well.
Right.
They really do, and I think that's what they like. Certainly in Soul Seraph, they didn't get that memo. That like what's cool about ActRaiser is that the stuff in the simulation stages impacts the stuff in the action stages and vice versa.
Right.
Beyond like you got a bigger health bar, you know, like.
But I love my bigger health bar, Mike. How dare you? Yeah, I feel like the reaction to both of those things was not great. I feel like the reaction was worse to Soul Seraph than it was to the ActRaiser remake, but also that it was
Some
just-
people seemed kind of happy about the ActRaiser remake. I don't think it's incredible, but it seemed like it was all right.
Yeah, most of those remakes have been somewhere between not that great and all right.
I mean,
Well,
Soul
like, I
Seraph
know
is just
the-
not a very good game.
The
I-
what was it? The Panzer
I just mean all
Dragoon
those-
one was like it was shit when it first came out, but apparently like I have it.
They
I
fixed
still
it up
haven't
a little
played it,
bit.
But apparently the first patch like kind of made it a lot more
Yeah.
tolerable than it
Like those
Panzer
the-
Dragoon, what?
remake.
Oh, the one that's like on the Switch?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, but that's not
The one
a
that I played a
Square-
while back, and I was amazed at how just old it felt.
That's not a Square Enix thing, though, is it?
No, it's not. It's Sega.
Right. I'm just speaking
Or you're
specifically,
talking about specifically
of
about the
where
Square
Enix.
Enix remakes.
Like, there's all those, like the Secret of Mana one and the SD3 one, and
True, the 3D ones, the
yeah, those are so ugly and just they're not that much fun. They made those games way less fun. And then there's like this kind of like the weird fonts and the weird looking Final Fantasy re-releases, and I don't know.
I feel like I heard that those, except for the weird fonts in the Final Fantasy.
I mean, it depends on
remakes
if you
were-
like the way they look or not. And well, I don't know. They look. I mean, they're fine. They're totally fine versions of those games that probably aren't quite as good as the.
I mean, there's a gazillion ports of all of those games, right?
Yeah.
Like you, especially the first two. Like, fuck, man, if you want to play Final Fantasy 1 or 2, I don't know why you'd ever want to play Final Fantasy 2 because it's fucking poop garbage. But you know, if you were so inclined, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it. They're on the fucking Wonder Swan, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just would be cool if they would just put out alongside those, just put the original one in there. You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they did with the Mana
Oh.
Collection, right? Was they actually just put Super NES.
Yeah, you
ROMs
can
on
play
there.
those. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I was looking up the quintet thing, and it doesn't seem like anybody knows who actually has the rights to those
I was gonna
games.
say,
so-
I feel like that was the obstacle, right? Is that like
A fan-led effort to encourage a re-release or remaster of Terranigma in 2021 led to renewed speculation on the status of the rights of Quintet's games.
who the fuck owns this shit?
According to artist Kamui Fujiwara, Quintet president had disappeared to his knowledge. So I don't know what's going on with these games.
That's wild. I mean, there's a lot of old Japanese games like that, right? Where it's just kind of like, we don't really.
It's
Like-
too bad because Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma are really, really good games. And Soul Blazer is not. It feels like a game that was released in 1992, but it's still really interesting and cool.
That's the one. Soul Blazer's the one with the weird pygmy people who race snails and like live their whole life in like one snail race and die. Like,
I think
right?
so.
That's-
Yeah,
that's-
it's also like the structure of that game is weird.
Does Soul Blazer have East combat where you just walk into the enemies, or do you have
I
a
thought
sword
it was
that
like
you
Zelda
swing?
combat, but I. could
It's
be
kind of
wrong.
like shitty Zelda combat, I'm pretty sure. Illusion of Gaia is the one that is like straight up a overhead action adventure game like Zelda or Secret of Mana or whatever. I really like that game. And then
You eat
Terranigma
that girl's
is-
pig.
pretty darn cool.
Whoa.
Listen, man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah.
Was
nope.
his name Hamlet? Is that the name of the pig?
Hamlet? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That is a name for a pig.
Tragic Prince.
But yeah, any video game that has the giant Nazca lines is okay in my book.
So
The
you're a
giant
big-
what?
You're a big Xevious fan.
Nazca
then,
lines, the big weird drawings on the ground that was it the
Incans
Aztecs or
or
the
the-
Incans
yeah.
or whatever that
Oh.
are in South America, where it's like if you look at it from the ground, it's just like a bunch of weird scratches in the dirt, but then when you look at it from
Yeah.
overhead from like a plane or whatever, it's like a giant picture of a bird. Yeah. Of those things.
ActRaiser's got that.
I don't know. You know what?
That's right.
That new
Actraiser
Kirby
has that
game.
too.
That new Kirby game looks fucking cool.
I had
don't
some
think
weird
I've liked
feelings
any
when
of the
Kirby ate that
3D
car.
There, there's only one or two other 3D Kirby games, right? And I feel like none of them are good.
Yeah, but this one looks like Mario Odyssey, except it's Kirby,
That's
which
true.
means it's better.
That's true.
It is kind of weird to see these character designs in a realistic world.
Yeah. Kirby
They
eats
do
a
not
vending
look like they
machine
belong there.
and then spits cokes at guys or whatever. That's pretty wild.
I like that he turns into a road cone and then like can break concrete for some reason as like
yeah, I don't know.
a
Listen,
traffic cone.
when was the last?
We got
I mean,
cause and
when
effect
was-
reversed here.
Yeah, right. What?
When was the last 3D Kirby game? Was that the Nintendo 64 one?
That one's 2.5D, isn't it? Wasn't there one on the GameCube that was like fully 3D and?
Maybe. I don't. There's been a lot of Kirby games.
There's so many Kirby games.
There's a lot of Kirby.
I bought
games.
Kirby Mass Attack because you recommended it, and I still have not played it.
It's pretty neat.
It's been
A lot
sitting
of
on my
Kirby
shelf
games-
for like a decade.
That's the thing. The thing about Kirby games is a lot of them are like, that's pretty neat,
Yeah,
but they're not quite.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not like they all have like cool ideas, but they never quite.
Is Shadow Man or Magnet Man weak to the top spin?
Shadow Man.
Shadow Man, yeah.
I thought for a second you were starting to talk about Shadow Man.
There's a reissue
Yeah,
of
the
that. There was a
Nintendo
remake
64
of
game.
that last year.
Why? It was trash.
I've seen several people whose opinions I respect in some way, shape, or form say that it's good.
But less so
actually.
after this comment.
If I'm a person whose opinion you respect, I disagree with them.
Okay.
I mean, it's like a mediocre Nintendo 64 game, which means by today's standards, it's probably not that good.
It's
I-
unplayable.
I think that the version that it was remastered by Night Dive, who did all those like Doom 64 and Turok and
Yeah.
stuff.
Is that a
I
remaster?
believe they used the Dreamcast version
Yeah.
as the.
It was a mediocre
basis.
Dreamcast game.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe this is just talking about how I feel about the given system libraries, but I think a mediocre Dreamcast game is better than a mediocre N64 game.
I mean, it's pretty much the same game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
At least you can see what's happening in a mediocre Dreamcast game.
Yeah, right. I have no memory of playing that game when it was new, and I haven't.
Is this the same
Obviously,
company that's
the-
putting out fucking Shadow Madness? Did you guys see
They-
that?
Wait. Somebody's doing Shadow
Somebody's
Madness.
Somebody's remastering and releasing on Steam Shadow Madness.
I mean, it could be Night Dive Studios.
Yes, Shadow Madness, the bad U.S. Final Fantasy
Oh.
VII ripoff made by, it's the people that made Secret of Evermore. Like they made that one game, and then Square
USA, right?
Square broke that studio up, and then those people formed another studio, and I'm pretty
And
sure
made
that some
Shadow
of those
Madness.
people were the ones that put out Shadow Madness.
The only thing I remember about Shadow Madness is the ad, because I remember I seen
Yeah, it
that
was
ad in
all
a
over the
million
place.
magazines of the pirate kid or whatever with his sword, and just being like, I don't even know what that is. I can't even tell from the ad what that is,
Yeah.
which is a
That-
hallmark of
that
90s
game-
magazine advertising. So you know,
Probably better than Legend of Dragoon, I
man,
guess.
that
talking
game
about-
came up recently in a work conversation, like on work Slack. We were talking about video games, and someone, PS1, I think specifically, and someone was like, "Oh man, Legend of Dragoon," and I was like, "The only thing I remember about Legend of Dragoon is that when I worked in a used video game store in college, we always had a fucking stack of them.
Yeah.
We could not
A lot of people
give
bought
that
it after
fucking
they
game
played
away.
Final Fantasy VII, thinking it was going to be another Final Fantasy VII.
It
and
was not another Final
on those
Fantasy
merits.
VII.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of mediocre JRPGs on the PlayStation, and I played all of them.
I mean, there was a
Give me your-
moment we kind of all did. I played.
Give me your
What was this first
your-
Saga game on PS1?
Saga,
Saga
Frontier.
Frontier.
Saga Frontier.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I
god.
hate that fucking
What a
game
mess.
so much.
There's
I mean,
I
it was
see
a-
all these people talking about how great that game is. I'm just like, I don't understand what game you play.
the thing you don't understand about that game, or you probably do now because people figured it out, but at the time was that it just like would randomly roll stats and things. So it's possible that you rolled a bunch of shit ass stats and the game was fucking impossible, and somebody else that liked
Yeah.
the game rolled good stats and the game
Yeah.
wasn't that hard. And like,
Yep.
what a stupid way to make a video game.
I mean, in the same way that like
It's one thing to make a game where you get random stats that
It was
is like a
hard
run-based
and also
thing
obtuse as fuck.
that's
so,
like a half an hour long or whatever, but that game was way more than a fucking half an hour long.
yeah.
Even each individual story was like that.
You know, in the same way that I figured out
Ugh.
that like I don't like, you know, Paul W.S. Anderson's movies, so when he makes a new one, I just don't go see it. Like
Yeah.
I figured out that Akitoshi Kawazu is just someone who makes video games that I'm just not fucking
Listen,
interested in
not
playing.
gonna do
It's like-
Saga Frontier
so-
2 is actually pretty good.
Why
That's
would
way
you
more-
have played that one after the?
Well, because so after that came out, there were a bunch of reviews about it. They were like, "Saga
Hey, you
Frontier
remember
1,
that?
right, guys? But this game is different." And then
This
also
game
it had,
actually isn't that.
well, Saga
so-
Frontier 2 also has the backgrounds are all watercolor paintings, and so it looks unlike pretty much any other video, especially in whatever 1998 or 1999 or whatever it came
Yeah,
out. Like there's
right.
nothing else that was quite like that. But that game is okay. It's
Okay.
quite a bit better than the first one.
That's
But I mean,
a
there's like-
bar.
There's like
I am
like
fine
Tales
with
of
your
Destiny
comment,
and-
and I'm also looking at scans. So
and As Your Dreamer and fucking Brigandine, and I was trying to think Legend of Legaia, and all these games that I pre-ordered in some cases, and then I mean some of them I probably even finished because I didn't have a lot going on back then. But
what did you say? Azure what?
As Your Dreamers,
I thought it was just Azure Dreams.
I don't know. I could be
That's
wrong.
I'm not. That's not what I'm thinking of. There's a tower climbing RPG thing that's roguelike-ish that has Azure in the name.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if that's what it is. Now I gotta look for it.
I say now you're gonna have to search.
It'd be a pain in the ass to find.
And you want to talk RPGs that are Azure, Curse of the Azure fucking Bonds.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hey, when Square Enix is doing all this stuff, right? Where's the good Parasite Eve re-release? That's what I want to know.
Seriously.
That's a good question.
That's a-
where's the
that's a-
like?
that's
where's
a
the
fucking good video
non-shitty
game.
version of the third birthday? That's,
I don't know
Azure
that such a
pulls
thing
something
could
out.
possibly exist.
Also,
But you want the good version of
Where's the-
Parasite
where's
Eve?
the good
Try playing
version of-
Parasite Eve.
where's the good version of what the fuck was it now? It's not Xenoblade is on my brain because they announced
Xenogears.
Yes.
yeah,
Where's the good?
Oh,
version
I
of
would
that?
love to see like a completed version of Xenogears.
bring that whole team back and give them like 10 mil and just let them finish the game.
I don't know if that would be any good though.
No, it wouldn't. But
I kind of love it the way it is.
yeah, where the second disc
I
is
was
just
say where the whole second
the main
disc is
character
just
sitting in a
text
chair
to
telling you
advance
about the things
dialogue.
that they wanted to put in the game.
Yeah, that's probably better that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I really liked the first half of that game in 1998.
I thought it was.
I
fine.
enjoyed all of it in
remember-
like 2008.
I remember getting frustrated, so I only played it when it was new. But I got it. I bought it when it was, or I got it for Christmas or whatever, something.
What
When it
was the
new,
demo with
and,
that one?
It was just like a square demo disc with like a bunch of stuff on it, I think, but I don't remember specifically what.
I thought you meant that the disc
But-
was shaped like a square.
No, that would have been a good. They should have done that though. They blew it on that one by not having like a mini CD that was shaped like a square. But I remember being really frustrated that like early in the game, like I didn't take the time to fully learn the systems, and I kept running out of gas. Like your mech can run out of gas basically, and then
Yeah.
you have to get out. But if you're fighting another giant robot, like you just get stepped on and die immediately, and it fucking sucks. And I got really
Yeah.
frustrated really early on with that. And was
The
just
on-foot
like,
combat is definitely more fun in my mind. Like the on-foot combat is super cool, and everyone's doing sick-ass martial arts moves.
There was
Yeah,
just
you just like push buttons and then crazy stuff happens.
there was
It's
just
alright.
a
It was alright.
Retronauts about like how where am I going next, Mike? Remind me. Snake Man, I guess.
What'd you just
Snake
get?
Man. I have Top, Shadow, and Spark down. Because this game has that
Oh.
weird fucking two weaknesses.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
So,
You could do Snake.
Oh, no, I can
You
do
could
Magnet,
probably
right?
beat
Magnet's
Magnet.
weak to
What
Spark.
you got? Yeah. I mean, you could also probably just beat Magnet Man without a weapon.
Right.
I mean, not with no weapon.
But
The way the passive fist kind of.
Yeah, there was just a Retronauts episode about, and I don't remember if it was a Patreon only one or whatever, but there was about how like wild Square got in the PlayStation era.
Yeah, that
I'm-
fucking ruled.
Yeah, and I'm so
I
bummed
mean,
out
they
that
were
they
pretty wild in the Super Nintendo era, also. Although you just like some of the weirder shit you didn't play because it didn't come to the United
Didn't
States.
come over here, yeah.
But Bomb at Lagoon and Live Alive are fucking batshit.
I'm told
crazy
that
games.
Live Alive has a wrestling character and story arc.
It does.
So,
There's a
Hybrid
ninja-
Heaven was not the first wrestling RPG, apparently, as we were finding out.
Yeah.
Mark
Um,
Van Borstel says, have you guys ever played Xeno Crisis? I've
Nope.
been obsessed with it on Neo Geo. I really love
It's
it.
like a new Neo Geo game,
that's,
right?
Yeah, that's the twin stick. It's like a Smash TV style.
Ah, okay.
We had to make a twin stick shooter on Neo Geo, which is not a system that really has that.
I saw I think it was Alex from Basement Brothers like did a video on it because he's like Neo Geo super fan, and he kind of said like it's cool if you're super into Neo Geo collecting, but like you can probably just buy the Genesis version instead. Fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just.
Or
you
it's
can
on
just buy the-
Switch. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's on Switch and Steam and like everything, right?
Yeah. But like I don't know, I'm so it's such a bummer that Square decided they were gonna let Hironobu Sakaguchi make like one of the worst fucking movies I've ever sat through in a movie theater, and so then they couldn't afford to be weird anymore, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
Mm.
Because like Einhander and Brave Fencer Musashi was one of the ones that I didn't play at the time, and
Love
then
that
like,
game.
That game is good.
That game
Some-
is so
a
good.
guy-
Andrew is fucking great.
a guy I worked with at the video game store in college was like, "Dude, have you played Brave Fencer Musashi?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "I'll lend you my copy. It's so good. You have to check it out." And I was like, "Okay." And
You gotta
he
collect
was
capital.
correct. It was so good.
I have not played that one.
It's good.
Brave
It's like
Fencer?
it's like I would say it's like the closest thing to a 3D Zelda on the PS1. That's
Yeah,
like
well,
how I would
have you
explain
have you played Threads of Fate?
it. No.
Yeah.
Me
That's
neither.
also like a 3D Zelda. On
It's
the PS1.
it's basically Brave Fencer Musashi 2, except it's like different characters and stuff. But
There also actually is a Brave Fencer Musashi 2 on PS2, which apparently is like not very good.
it's not that good. Yeah,
Which is,
Not that
always a
good.
bummer.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, I played pretty much all those games.
Maybe
Like
you want to go
anything-
back and play Iron
Everything
Man.
from like 1997 through like, well, basically through the Bouncer. Basically, I played pretty much all that shit.
Oh god.
I didn't play the bouncer, but otherwise, yes.
I did.
Actually, I
and
kind of
then-
want to
Which is,
revisit.
which is part of why it's like, yeah, Saga Frontier is garbage because I played it.
So now,
But
I
now,
kind of
hey,
want to revisit the
Vagrant
Bouncer.
Story and Paradise Eve, and
Hmm.
I mean, it's pretty good shit.
I kind
Yeah,
of.
I could never get into Vagrant Story.
I bounced off of that too. I tried playing it like not a few years ago, but I don't know. At some point in the after it was new, but like not.
You had to
super
be
recent.
way into the.
Same.
You had to be way into the weapon leveling system in that game. I made a sick. I made this really awesome two-handed like broadsword that had decent stats against all enemy types except for Ghost, and then I had
Got
invested
killed by
all that
ghosts.
time, and then there was like a Ghost boss, and it took me like 2 hours to beat because I can only do like 4 damage to it. So
You
it's
just
just like
chip.
very, because it was either that or like load an earlier save and
Replay
like
12 hours
grind
of your life.
to, yeah, and that was kind of an issue, but
just not having it, huh?
yeah, I did like that game quite a bit.
But
I would love to play a slightly rebalanced one of those.
I kind of want to revisit the Bouncer because expectations were like now my expectations for what the Bouncer is are quite.
Your
different.
girlfriend turns into a satellite, Joe. That game is all right.
Is that better or worse than Brad Spencer finding out his wife is his robot arm in the Bionic
mean,
Commando remake?
That is the PlayStation 2
whatever.
version of finding out that your wife is a ghost in your robot arm.
Hashtag not my commando.
Yeah.
Hashtag not my robot arm.
That's not a that's a bad. I revisited that game for a video a couple of years ago, and I remember people being like, "No, that game is actually good. It was misunderstood." And I revisited that Bionic Commando 2009. And I was like, "No, you're all wrong. This game fucking sucks. I don't know why people are like
Which game?
trying to Bionic Commando 2009.
Oh,
Not rearmed,
It was a new one.
but the actual, the new one.
The 3D one.
It was a new one. That's
I mean,
the answer.
The only thing that's good about that game is that Mike Patton is the voice of Brad Spencer, and other than that, there's just nothing.
and if you want to play a better game with Mike Patton as
The Darkness?
voice actor, you just play the Darkness. Yeah, which is that game's all right.
What
I don't
the
know.
hell?
Only if you
fine.
believe in a thing called love.
what is
I played
Starbreeze up to?
I played the
these days,
demic
by
of
the way?
Bionic Commando 2009, and I was like, this seems kind of not horrible. I don't know.
What has Starbreeze done lately? What are they doing?
Do they still exist?
Are they the company that ended up going down some terrible?
The Payday games, or am I?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
that-
that's
that
it.
was
You're
them,
right.
yeah.
That's it.
But
yeah.
wasn't Payday 1 was... I guess they still support Payday 2, so maybe
They
that's
bought
just
the
what they're
company that made Payday.
doing. Okay, because I was going to say, Payday 1 was before Syndicate, wasn't it? Or maybe not.
I don't know, but I think Payday 2 was so successful for them that they just basically did that for a long time.
I mean,
Yeah, it
I
was
still- I still
that one
see-
company put out Payday, and then they bought it, and then Syndicate came out, and then Payday 2 came out.
Yeah. Because I was going
Or
to say, I
you-
still see, like, I still get updates. Like, Payday 2 is still installed on my hard drive for some reason. And I still get, like,
Oh, that's
updates
right. They
for
made
it.
that. They made that awful Walking. They invested a ton of money in that Walking Dead game that was kind of a big
FPS,
flop.
like
Yeah.
not the Telltale one. The other
Not the
one.
Telltale one. Not the Telltale one. The Starbreeze one.
The Starbreeze one, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But
Kurt, I think
apparently
you
they've
were
just-
thinking of Star Citizen.
Apparently, they've just been having. Oh boy.
Oh, jeez.
No, there's
Talking-
some.
On the Bombcast today or last week, they called Star Citizen the NFTs before there were NFTs, which is, I mean, the NFTs before there were NFTs is Team Fortress 2 hats, but also, yes.
No, because
Same
Team
thing
Fortress 2
as-
hats have actual value, is the difference.
Yeah, it's easier to turn Team Fortress
Right.
2 hats into actual money than it is to turn NFTs into actual money.
Team Fortress 2 hats make your demo man look cool.
That's true. Well, in my case, I had a strange heavy hat.
But what if your demo man was a smoking monkey or something? Right?
I mean, you
All
might
right,
be
guys.
able to do that now. I don't know.
I was gonna say,
Yes.
Yeah,
I
you
wouldn't
can
put it
definitely
past
do
them.
that for less than like $400,000.
Yeah, right.
ugh,
You beat
Agreed.
Bruce.
I beat Bruce. That's right.
Yeah,
I
that
drove Bruce
that Walking
back.
Dead game was the last thing that Starbreeze put out.
Do they still exist? Or like
Yeah,
They just
Yeah,
they just put out
apparently they
new
do.
content for Payday 2, apparently.
the same year they put out Payday 2, they put out Brothers.
Apparently,
Oh, that's
2023 Payday 3 is.
Did they
supposed to come
actually
out.
make Brothers though, or did they just publish it?
I think they just published it, didn't they?
It says developed publisher 505.
Okay.
So then what
I
did
guess
they
they
do?
worked on it.
Well, 505 published it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
they
505
branded it,
published
yeah.
it. 505 also published Payday 2. So
Yeah, and Control.
505 published Control?
Yeah.
Hmm?
I should play the Alan Wake DLC before Alan Wake 2 comes out, huh? I wonder if it's going to
Well,
tie in.
I mean, Alan Wake.
Oh,
You know,
Alan
game's
Wake
really,
2
really bad.
what's
If
that?
Alan Wake 2 is anything like Alan Wake 1, you'll be able to play it in about 6 years. So
Fair. What game's really bad, Anthony?
Alan Wake.
Well, I'm not talking about playing Alan Wake. I'm talking about playing the Alan Wake DLC for Control.
Why
Listen,
would you care if the underlying thing is bad, though?
if you want to enjoy Alan Wake, you
Be-
just have to go back in time 12 years, and then you'll
So
think
we
it's
talked
pretty
about
good.
I couldn't do.
We talked about it. Apparently, it's not that bad, Anthony, because we talked about it a whole shitload when we first started podcasting, and then I bought it because we talked about it so much. And that's a similar time for when I bought Kirby Mass Effect and still haven't played Alan Wake.
Mass Attack.
or yes,
Kirby Mass Effect.
Kirby Mass Effect is a
Kirby Mass
different and
Effect.
interesting
Hasn't come
game.
out yet,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, way more nudity.
which also should not be confused with Kirby Massive Attack, which the whole
Yeah.
soundtrack is just the mezzanine, which is
It's right, yeah,
actually-
right.
Oh, yeah, Alan Wake was a very flawed game with very obvious flaws in 2010, and like I said,
Time hasn't been
before you
kind to
started playing it, Anthony, I'm sure those flaws have aged very poorly, and then also
Yeah,
the things
sure
that were
did.
good about it are not as notable in 2022 or 2021 as they were.
Wow, you mean
Also
someone remembers
true.
Twin Peaks? What?
Well, yeah, but dude, that was a fucking big deal in 2010.
That's
also, just
true.
a,
That's
just a
true.
game
Doesn't-
like a game with like story and characters that didn't completely suck were kind of a big deal in 2010, also, right?
That's true.
That's-
People rave
All right,
about
that's,
Bioshock.
that's also fair.
Not because Bioshock is fun, because it is still fun, but
It's fun, yeah.
but because
Also, I
the
mean,
writing was so transcendent in Bioshock, which I don't know if you've like watched any
I
of the
know,
cutscenes
it's-
from Bioshock lately, but
It was more that it was a game with a theme, which is just not a thing that video games did very often back then.
That one scene was cool. Come on.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean that whole section where you're with the crazy guy in the
Word
museum.
frolic.
that
Yeah,
was
it's
awesome, but not because the writing was good. That was awesome because
I mean the
stuff was
scenario
good.
writing was good,
Well,
right?
sure, but that's not novel. Video games have had that for a long time.
But anyway, even by
I'd
the
never
time
seen
Bioshock
anything
came
like
out,
that
I
when
was
played that game.
I was already an immersive sim hipster at that point. And I was like, this isn't scary compared to System Shock. They dumbed this down for the
They already did
plebes.
this
Yeah.
twist and shipped System Shock, except instead of just a guy, it was a cool robot.
Bad guys made of worms makes you think.
I don't know. Bioshock was definitely the right game at the right time.
True.
You know, there was like some as people were like learning to deconstruct games. A game with a bunch of art and things in it that could be deconstructed came out, and so
I guess the problem is that it was kind of like first year philosophy student, and then by the time Bioshock Infinite came out and they hadn't really updated that view at all, games had sort of moved on.
I still think
Bioshock Infinite
There's-
was still really fun though.
there's quite a bit of there's some interesting stuff in Bioshock Infinite, but it just gets very muddled by the end.
Some.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that you can have like a power and your gun out at the same time. That's what I really liked about Bioshock.
It was fun. I thought that game was really
Yeah.
fun.
Also,
I
like,
mean,
the
it was also
Skyhook thing.
it was
like,
also
sliding
one of
around
those
the rails and
games
stuff
that
was super
promised
fun.
stuff in the trailers that it never really delivered on, and so there was
Speaking of
a
which,
lot of
No
people
Man's
that
Sky is
not-
coming to Switch.
that weren't wrong, right? When they said like this game is disappointing because it's not giving me the things in the
Shit.
trailers, which is fair, but
The irony is that No Man's Sky now has all of that stuff, but I
was
don't
gonna
like
say,
any
I'm
of
told
it.
that No Man's Sky is actually fun now, so
You weren't told that by me.
not by you, but I have seen people say that no, now that they've added a bunch of shit and the game is actually pretty good.
Joe,
Yeah.
that's not a cloud; it's a torpedo.
Yes.
Enjoy
yes.
the game
It'll hit you.
before. when
Bring
I
it's
know
you-
it's
relating.
I know it's hard to tell because they're in disguise, but
That's right.
Psst.
Well, I'm riding on these other clouds that look like they're not actually clouds, but like robot platforms. What the fuck? You know, so
And this skies, not that skies.
anyways, Shadow Madness. Can you guys
That's
fucking
right, we
believe
were
that they're
talking
putting that
about
shit out?
is that sorry? Did we figure out that is Night Dive also doing that?
No, it's not. It's somebody else.
I was gonna say, wow. I
Um,
feel like they've been doing a lot of like more popular. I
It's
mean, I've
somebody
heard that
that-
the Turok and Turok 2 remasters that they did are like pretty good. I don't know how well those games hold up, but I remember liking Turok and Turok 2 back in the day. That tells me nothing about if they're.
It's
still
actually
good.
it's being published. It's
Cerebral
being
Bore.
published by Pico Interactive and Bleem.
Bleem?
So
Yeah.
Pico Interactive has done
Mhm.
some stuff, and I feel like
A
there
bunch
was
of
some
stuff like
stuff
this,
about
yes.
that, like they were kind of like they may or may not have published stuff that they didn't actually have the rights to at
Right.
one point.
So like you can buy a copy of fucking 8 Eyes on Steam for $7 published by that same company.
I would, yeah, that's what
You
I.
guys
That's
know
a
what
lot
Eight
too
Eyes
many
is?
dollars for that game, but
Eight
Yeah.
Eyes is shitty Castlevania
It's a-
with a bird.
Yeah, it's bad. It's a bad NES game. Radical Rex for $7 you can buy. That's published by
I mean, it's a
them.
little less than a buck an eye, but geez.
It's a great deal if you're looking for some eyes.
Which
but-
is not as good as a Buccaneer, right?
But
That's right.
bump. Jim Power, The Lost Dimension, Super 3D Noah's Ark.
Yeah, they had to deal
It
with.
relates to Jim Cotta.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
This is a Jim Cotta video game.
It's a
Impossible
remake of Jim Cotta. With
is a great
I
title
don't,
for a game.
I don't
but
know who an appropriate gymnast is to be in that game these days.
Anyways,
Ooh, yeah, I was just gonna say the Olympics are on right now, but they're the Winter Olympics, so you're still not gonna learn who an appropriate gymnast is, I guess.
You could use an ice skater and have it be a
That's right.
Trans-
Jim Cotta 2, figure skating revenge.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, what is like a hot dog skier if not a gymnast of the sky?
That's right.
holy shit.
Or a sequel to
So
the
there's
Dolph Lundgren
something-
movie
there's-
Pentathlon called
I'm looking at-
Biathlon about someone who's really good at skiing and shooting a rifle.
I'm looking at this list of games that they published, and so one of them is The
Duke
Immortal, which
Nukem.
is that weird like
Yeah.
3/4 view perspective game that just came out on Switch NES collection, that's weird. And then one of them is a game called Super Hunchback, which is it's a fucking Game Boy game. And it just looks like a Game Boy game. And it's $8
Yeah,
on
they
Steam.
published
And they
the
just put
US
that out in
release.
June of last year.
Yeah, they published a lot of weird stuff. They published the US release of the Duke
Oh.
Nukem Genesis port,
Great.
which was a Brazilian thing, a legit licensed Brazilian thing, and then they
Yeah.
published the North American
Man.
version. Mike, help me out here. Needleman is
What-
weak to
Gemini Laser. Do Gemini Man first.
Gemini Man, then
You can Shadow Blade the Gemini Man
you can Snake. You can search Snake the Gemini Man.
if you want.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, hey, you know what? Turok 2 has the cerebral bore, so maybe it's worth like checking out the remake just to see if that's still awesome.
Yeah, but that's still a bad game, right? Like that was a passable first-person shooter in 1999 or whatever. But
I don't
Even
think
the
it's
very
probably-
best first-person shooters from that era, I think, only barely hold up.
right,
You know, every time I've revisited GoldenEye, I've still been like, this is still pretty good. Like, I still have fun with this, and maybe it's the nostalgia.
certainly the
blocking.
best of those of the games where you stop and plant your feet and then awkwardly
And then
whip
aim.
your gun around in circles as you try to aim. with
So-
your
Holding the
shit out.
R trigger down so you can
Yeah.
aim up and down.
I didn't know this until recently, and I'm trying to remember where I heard it. But apparently, and I haven't revisited GoldenEye, and certainly wouldn't have done it with two controllers plugged in. But apparently, there is a dual controller scheme that basically lets you play GoldenEye like a modern first-person shooter.
Except with it's like, well, if you were trying to play a modern shooter with two
enormous
Nintendo 64 controllers,
Right.
Yeah,
which I don't, listen, if you want to play Call of Duty that way, then go for it.
I
But
suppose
I'm
you
not sure
can.
that you're going to have a good time.
Are you challenging
He's
me?
calling you out, Joe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Hi, dog. Can you just trip over all those wires? Thanks, buddy.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah,
Rush.
I don't even know. Oh, we were talking about the Nintendo Direct.
Yes.
They made a sequel to Nintendo Wii Sports for Switch.
They did.
So-
I'm honestly surprised it took this long. Like,
Yeah,
there was
me too.
already an S on Wii
completely-
Sports. How do you know it's a sequel? How do you know?
I'm honestly surprised it only has like 6 sports in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah, I didn't say that I really was excited for it, but they made it.
It
But
exists.
yeah, it's happening whether you like it or not. So
The Advance Wars thing looks kind of okay.
Wait, what?
they're remaking.
It's
just a
an
remake,
Advance
right?
Wars remake.
Yeah.
Think of the
I kind
first
of
two.
disagree, honestly, because I think they make the art style look a lot less nice than it does in the original games.
Except not really the
Yeah.
first two, because it's not a remake of Famicom Wars and Super Famicom Wars. It's
Okay, you know what
It's
I
a
mean.
remake of Advance Wars.
I said Advance Wars. Yeah.
Make a new
The
one.
good
I
ones.
wasn't correcting you, Anthony. I was just saying, like.
All right.
You know,
Well,
Just make
should've
Xenoblade
corrected me.
Chronicles 3, huh?
mm,
Sure.
I
I'm gonna play
I
another
can-
100-hour. I liked the first one of those. I thought that was pretty fun.
I personally.
I had a really
could-
good time
you
for
could-
25 hours.
Jump really high in that game, and it was kind of neat.
I personally can hardly wait for there to be like another 7 anime sword boys in the next Smash Brothers game because there's news.
There's
we
They're
needed.
making a-
Yeah, we need. Right.
They're making a
There's a
Musu.
dearth of.
That's
Yeah.
why there isn't any more DLC for that game. They ran
They're
out.
They
making-
ran out of anime Sword Boys.
Yeah.
They're making Fire Emblem into
They're
a
like Sora's the last
Dynasty
one.
Warriors.
That's the second, isn't that's another one of those though? I thought.
Did they?
I thought
They
Yeah,
did
there's
Fire
another
Emblem
one.
already?
Yes.
'Cause I know there's two Zelda
Leroy
ones.
was the last one.
That I kind of want to play that Persona one.
I've just gotten to the place where I've figured out those games are not good, or I don't think they're good, because every time I'm like, this seems like a theme that would like draw me in. I'll check it out, and every
played
time
through
I'm
the-
like, this isn't good.
I played through the demo of the Breath of the Wild themed one, and I thought it was all right. Not all right enough that I wanted to play it, but that was partially also because the performance on the Switch was kind of dog shit. Like it really controlled badly, and I just didn't.
That was the last
You'll
one.
just
that
have to
was-
play it
that
on
I
the
played.
Switch Pro coming.
Never.
Never.
I was telling Mike, my kids have gotten.
I might be better
so-
off playing it via emulation on my Steam Deck in a couple of months.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I just like the Musou games. I tried and I kept trying, and then finally with the second Zelda one, I was just like, you know what? I don't like these.
Did you try the demo of that?
I rented it. I rented it from GameFly, and I
Because at
played
least
like
the
several
cool thing about
hours
that
of it,
one
and
was,
like,
the cool thing about that one was it at least had like characters with different kind of crazy powers that felt really different. Whereas like the Dynasty Warrior games were always kind of like, this is a guy with a spear and this is a guy with a sword.
I mean, that's
And
true.
that-
Those are totally
Power.
different.
That's
yeah.
true. But
I mean,
One can
they're-
reach longer.
it's true. They are very different in that one can reach
One's-
longer.
One's ouchie at the end, and one
Uh-huh.
ouchie along
Ouchie
the
everywhere.
a whole
Yeah.
edge, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen people say like, well, you like, I'm surprised you don't like those because you like beat 'em ups, and I'm like, yeah, but like good beat 'em ups, the combat feels like it has weight to it. Like, it feels like
That's just about wrecking tons of mooks with no.
right.
Yeah.
And I that's what I don't like about it. It feels
Yep.
like weightless and like nothing has consequence, and just like you know what.
Like the Zelda one was cool just because there was like I said, there was a variety of characters with kind of neat powers, so it was kind of
Yeah, that
was
made
kinda
it better. That's the best.
like you could
one of those
rotate
that I
between those.
played.
Like there was the like when you, especially if you played as Sheik, who could summon like 10 Sheiks. That was really cool. Like that was fucking cool.
I don't know if I got
it was
far
like
enough
the
to unlock Sheik, or if I chose to unlock, because you pick and choose who you unlock, right? If I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
yeah, that was really cool. Or like Zelda had she had the tablet and she could just like she could do all this stuff that Link could do in Breath of the Wild with the tablet. So you could just like drop bombs and like magnetize dudes to stuff, and so you could just like fling guys around. There was some really cool ideas in that one.
Telling Mike, my kids and I have played through so many Zeldas recently because they've been like obsessed with that
Mhm.
series suddenly that they're now at the place where that game would land super well.
Yeah, go for it.
But-
I think you guys
But
would
the
have fun with
problem, yeah, but I have this problem where it's almost 5 years old and it's still $60, and I just like,
it. The second
I'm
one
pulling Mike.
just came out last year.
yeah, but I don't want to play
2020.
that one because they're into like all the other Zeldas more than Breath of the Wild. So they don't want the Breath of the Wild themed one. They want the like.
You must feel
The one
very
that
bad
looks
as
like-
a parent.
the one that looks.
Well,
like
it's not
Twilight
that they
Princess.
don't like that one. It's just that they're kids. They don't get it. So they're into Ocarina of Time as much as Breath of the Wild.
Do they call
They-
do they call Wind Waker Zelda? Because if so, you might have a problem on your hand.
No, they love the shit out of that game too.
Okay,
So
all right.
that's fine. But
I don't know. They might be into that
Yeah,
because
actually, you know what, Eric? The one
Yeah, and
I
this-
didn't play the Breath of
They
the
wa-
Wild one. I played the I
You
played
played Hyrule Warriors,
Hyrule
the first-
That
the
was
first
yeah,
one.
and the Switch one is supposed to be like
That's the
run
best
better
version
and
of it,
stuff.
I'm told,
yeah, but I
don't know. Yeah, I didn't.
I need
That one
I'm-
came out quite a while ago.
So next time that's on sale, I'm gonna snatch it up. But
Yeah.
I played like Dynasty Warriors on like PlayStation 2 and
Yeah, it was fun.
never played since. So I don't know.
I had-
I assume my opinion will be like Joe, except I'll have kids that'll be pushing me further.
I had an amazing overnight sleepover with my best friend where we spent like 5 hours trying to
Me too.
beat Lu Bu.
Yep.
And
Uh,
where the guy goes, "Don't attack Lu Bu," and then we're like, "Fuck you, man! We're gonna attack Lu Bu." And then we spent like I said, like 4 or 5 hours whittling his health down. And then we got to ride Lu Bu's horse for a little bit, and that was pretty much it. Because
that's the.
I
that's
forget.
the
Did you
payoff.
ever play Way? I forget. Did you
That
ever
was a
play
good-
any of the Way of the Samurais?
If there was a good version of that game, something cool would have happened when you beat Lu Bu. But instead, he just shows up again.
Yeah, but now he's a ghost. That's why he's got
No,
that
I
name.
never
Now
did.
he's Lu Boo.
Yeah.
I never did play Way of the Samurai, but those games seem rad.
Same thing,
Yeah.
isn't it, basically?
It. I mean, well, there's the same where like you can kind of do whatever you want, and so I just murdered one of the heroes and like took all his stuff.
But they have
But then
like
all the other
branching
heroes
paths,
hated me.
right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, those games are fun.
Yeah, like they're one of the few games that like have legitimate branching paths.
Yes,
they don't do the
absolutely.
diamond. They don't do the diamond shaped thing where like your choices like eventually collapse back into a single ending. Like they just have like 7 different
Right.
ways to beat the game. Yeah.
So
No, I never played those.
I tried
but-
the first Fist of the North Star one too, and I thought that was like this actually fits because Ken just like flicks guys away. So like this seems
Yeah.
like it should work, but that one didn't work for me either.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. You don't have to like those games.
You punch them so hard that they explode.
Yes, you punch them so hard that they explode.
But I still kind of want to play the Persona one.
Yeah, that's fine. You play that someday. I'll play the Zelda one someday, and we'll get into
compare
Musu.
notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They put out Portal
Yeah, Portal and Portal 2 on Switch.
and fucking the Star Wars Force Unleash.
The Wii version of
Yeah.
Star Wars, which actually I think is the better the not next gen one from the time is actually the better one, I think, but
Yeah.
it's still like it's not neither version is good, so I was just kind of surprised at that. But hey,
Also, they announced the release date for the Cuphead DLC,
yes,
which is June 30th.
30th.
So, a very, very much so.
Game
I'm
hasn't
very
released
much so
DLC
looking
yet.
No,
for it. Oh no,
Weird. That game is old.
it's almost like they had to
It's 6
hand
years
draw
old?
a whole bunch more shit.
Well, yeah, right.
6 years old, 5 years old.
5 years old.
It was in the best modern year of video games year.
2017.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm gonna end the stream now because I was gonna stop when I fucked up on Mega Man 2, but then I started playing Mega Man 3, and now I've beaten all the Robot Masters, and we've been going for like almost 2 hours.
For a long time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're gonna call it a night, but we'll be back, especially since we'll be back on Friday with a fucking super long thing. So gird your loins for that. I'm gonna get
2.5 hours, 3 hours.
last
usually. Not
year's
so bad.
last year's was 4 hours. I looked at the stream yesterday to see how long we took it last year. It was 4
I'm not doing 4 hours of that, so
but yeah,
Keep it
I'm
in your
actually
pants.
I'm gonna stop streaming so I can send Eric some game footage because I have it
Yay.
all there. So we'll be back on Friday with the Sticky Awards. Don't miss it.
I won't.